Welcome everybody to today's 1M1M Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. This is a public roundtable, and it's our 137th session, I believe. As you know, the mission of the 1M1M program is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond by 2020, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. That, of course, is an extremely ambitious, audacious goal, and it can only succeed if you succeed as entrepreneurs. Our entire justification for existence is to support you. We are going to be recording the roundtable, so if you're trying to access it later to listen to play back what was discussed, you will have access to it, and also you can share it with people as you need to. If you are live tweeting the show, please use hashtag 1M1M, and our Twitter account is at 1M1M and at Sramana. You could follow those. So the first presenter today is Zeus now, Rasheli Levkovich. Rasheli, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're doing. Rasheli, by the way, is a 1M1M premium member, and we're using this session to work with her. Rasheli, come tell us what you're doing.
Hi, everyone. I'm calling you from Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm one of the founders of Zeus Now. Zeus Now provides online and dynamic adaptation service for complex websites for smartphone surfing. We've been existing technologic-wise for the last 2 years, and we started selling a little bit more than half a year from now. Our customers are websites, and specifically we deal now with e-commerce that want to have presence on the mobile. But like you can see on the right hand, this is how they look like. This is a Magento store, HTML5 by the way, but still you can see everything, but you have to zoom in, you have to zoom out, and the chances that anyone would buy anything here are very low. So this is actually one of our customers, and maybe we can speak later about the result and how it looks like today and what he gained from that.
Yeah, that's actually, why don't you talk about that now? That would give us an idea about how you're delivering the solution and what are you charging for it and so on and so forth. Those things are relevant discussions here.
Okay, so for a website like 11pride.com, it took us less than 3 days to go live with an adapted mobile site. Our solution creates a mirroring of the original site. It means we don't create a generic template or anything like that. We use the look and feel of the website, and we upgrade. We upgraded with unique mobile UX. We make sure that the checkout process is very clear. We make, at the bottom line, what we do is we help them increase conversion on mobile. And for example, loveandpride.com, 3 weeks after going live, just grew 35% in revenue for mobile. And this is our main aim. So what we charge is there's a one-time setup fee starting $350, and there's a monthly fee for e-commerce of $50 a month, and it includes everything. Also support of new devices that come in the market or changes that are being done by the customer. And important also to note that everything is being adapted dynamically, so there's no human intervention. Whatever they put on their website now, if they have a new jewelry that they put in, they don't have to contact us, they don't have to tell us anything. Everything is dynamically adapted, and the surfer always gets the latest web page that he asks for on his specific mobile device. So this is actually our offering.
And how many customers do you have at this point?
At this point, we have some 80 paying customers.
80?
Most
80?
Yeah, exactly.
U.S. customers, European customers, where are the customers?
Most of them are Israeli customers. We have some European, 11 parties an American customer, but most of them are still Israeli. We started in the Israeli market to first understand and to improve our product to see exactly what people need, and it was easier here. It's better to make mistakes, I think, in your own homeland and then just going outside and then doing it. Now we're starting a very big cooperation with a European e-commerce platform. I hope that by the end of August or the beginning of September, actually, we'll be able to launch it already.
Which
so
one?
We will be
I
can't say it. I can't say it. Unfortunately, I can't say it because we're still on signing like legal documents and everything.
Okay.
But it's a very known European platform. They have some 80,000 e-shops, and we're going to be the in-house mobile solution for their customers.
Okay.
And
so it's OEM deal.
Sorry?
It's an OEM relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea is to go and to do copy and paste with other platforms, and especially also in the U.S., and we're working really hard on that as well right now.
Okay.
Our aim is not to sell directly, but to use channels and partners or platforms, and could be also hosting companies. And this is where we put most of our effort right now.
And how much revenue are the 80 current customers generating?
So when we first started, we were really, really cheap. So right now, these 80 customers make something like a little bit more. The retainer, I mean, taking off the setup cost because we have to pay for that as well. So the retainer from this customer is approximately $5,000, $6,000 a month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so if we look at our market, or if we look at how the mobile web is today and where we find ourselves, so today most solutions are sitting at the long tail and the high end, concentrating on those two edges. Long tail meaning mini-site solutions, do-it-yourself solutions, and we find big companies like Duda Mobile, Be-Mobilize, Wix Mobile, Mofuse, and there are many more that help you to create your own mobile site using drag-and-drop self-service solutions. And these solutions are very good for small websites, for mini-sites, and for more for individuals and less for businesses. And on the other side, we have the enterprises, and they are usually involved in very long projects, very expensive, and they are being expected to pay a lot, and they use integration companies, those who usually provide them with their IT solution to build a new mobile site, usually from scratch. Not necessarily the best solution, but something that only integration companies can provide with.
But the end is very crowded. There's actually lots of service providers who have both technology and services. We've done great stories on some of these providers. You should look it up on our Thought Leaders in Mobile and Social series. Some of those case studies are provided in the curriculum.
Do you mean for high end, for enterprises,
high-end,
or?
Yeah. For high-end.
So our the reason why we're not really targeting the high end is because we're doing it right now in Israel, and we're still a startup company, and we are 4 people. And
no, I'm perfectly comfortable with the fact that you are not going in the high end. The high end is extremely crowded, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I get it. Okay.
What I'm saying is the high end is very crowded. I don't want you to be in the high end.
Okay, good. So I don't want to be there too, so that's good.
Good.
So the high end is very crowded. The long tail is very crowded, and what we found out over the last 2 years is that in the middle we have businesses that have their own website or based on websites like e-commerce publishers or brands, that can find the right solution on either end. So do-it-yourself, drag-and-drop self-service solutions are not for them. But on the other hand, they can't really spend so much money on building a mobile site using the integration and service companies. So what we found out is that 93% of those businesses just decide to stay as they are on mobile. So they're not even looking for any solution, just waiting for something to happen. And this is where we actually go inside.
Okay.
This is the target group that we are aiming to address.
Okay. And I have another comment here in your segmentation. You talk about e-commerce, publishers, and brands. Mm-hmm. My take on this is the needs of publishers and brands are different. I would suggest that for the moment you focus purely on e-commerce, because e-commerce is highly segmented, and the platform providers are very segmented, and the needs of the e-commerce providers are very segmented, very uniform needs. So I think it will be easier for you to sell into one segment. The minute you come to publishers, you'll have a whole different range of questions and whole different range of issues. I wouldn't go there for the moment.
I fully agree. Right now, we're actually concentrating on e-commerce. We started our way, actually it's funny, we started our way with publishers, but we found it more interesting and more, I mean, business-wise, it makes more sense to go with the e-commerce because it's really a matter of if you're able to sell or not. And this is why it's easier for us to sell our products. We have different packages for e-commerce and publishers. So we have an e-commerce package and publisher package. Publisher, we work with advertisement companies such as YBrand, and we do integration of advertisement within the mobile version of the website. And for e-commerce, it's a whole different issue. You're totally right. They have different needs, and this is where we're specializing.
With e-commerce, don't bother with the rest. And e-commerce is very large. The mid-tail e-commerce is extremely large.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now we have 80 customers, and that's really nice. But we want to grow big, and we want to get to the few thousand, 10,000, 100,000, and more customers. And the way we are planning to do it has two meanings for us. First of all, technologically, we're going to improve the automation level of our system, because we have developed an algorithm that actually takes a website that was built for large screen sizes, and by doing visual analysis, actually adapts the website to the surfer's smartphone. The automation level today, we estimate that some 60% of a website is being automatically adapted, and we have webmasters working with us that do the 30% that hasn't been adapted, plus customization from the customer. And this is something which is a burden, because if a webmaster has to spend 2-3 days on one website, then it doesn't really help us in growing. So we're working very hard on improving the automation level. And
right. If you have to customize 10,000 sites, it's not going to scale, right?
No. It's not going to work. So one thing is working on the automation level, but the way that we can, working on the algorithm and bringing it to a level where 80% of the website that's going through our system are zero-touch adapted to mobile, that will take, we estimate, 1 to 1.5 years. But in order to make things happen a bit faster, we decided to work with specific platforms, such as the e-commerce platform that we're going to work with.
Yeah.
And then by doing integration with those platforms, we are able to get to zero touch in the setup process for almost 93% of their customers, because we work on specific templates that they have, and we learn the components, and then And this enables us to grow faster than what the algorithm can do for all websites.
And that's where I was going to go. I think it's platform-specific solutions will cut out a lot of the non-standard stuff. Now, one question I have there, though, is that a lot of the platform providers are doing their own solutions for mobile. What is your research? What does your research show on that so far?
So everyone has something because it doesn't make any sense if someone looks for creating a shop that will not have any solution for mobile. So most of the platform have some sort of a solution, but most of them are very, very basic. More advanced solutions are either very expensive or they have integration and APIs that are very complex.
Have you validated that? Like what is going on with Volusion? In your category, the US platforms, the platforms that are big in the US, you're going to encounter are Volusion, BigCommerce. The UK, there's Moonfruit. Who else is in that space is something that you need to sort out, and you need to really granularly understand what technologies do they have available.
So we did it. I can't say exactly what Volusion has, but for example, also, by the way, the e-commerce platform that we're about to start with, they also have their own mobile platform template for their customers, but they show that it doesn't work. So they have 80,000 e-commerce on desktop, but they have less than 1% that mobilize their website through their solution.
That's very good.
That is very good. And when they try to find out why,
about the platform providers.
Sorry?
You cannot make that assumption about all the platform providers. You have to validate.
No, of course not. But we are already in contact with some other platform providers, and we see that most of them have this problem. And I think from what we see right now is that basic solutions are not satisfying for that target group that we are aiming at. So if you're a business, you don't want to have a generic template for your mobile, because they spend a lot of time, a lot of money on their own design, look and feel, and user experience, and then on mobile they end up like any other website. And even at the beginning, we thought that the functionality of a mobile site will be the most important thing for our customers, but we found out that, first of all, they want to look great, as if they paid $1 million for the mobile site, and then functionality follows. So by enabling every customer, even if it's one of the smallest businesses that we have, that enabling him to look and feel like he's the greatest, that he has the greatest mobile site, makes it easier for us to compete with templates, with existing templates.
Okay.
And also our costs, because we have very low costs, so it works for us. And
workforce on this slide.
The virtual workforce, this is something that we haven't yet started working on, but this is what we're planning to do, which means enabling webmasters worldwide to work with our system to create mobile sites for their customers, or actually because we want to get to zero touch adaptation, so it won't be create a mobile site, but customization requests of their clients to improve their mobile version. And by opening our platform to webmasters all over the world, we'll be able to attract more and more customers and enjoy the.
That's not going to be easy to market.
For sure. For sure, it's not going to be easy to market. I think this is why it's also on the last path of our growing.
I wouldn't worry about that. I think you can do it through the partners. You will automatically reach that audience because the partners, I mean, if you can do it with the partners properly, effectively.
Even today, we have people outside of the company that are using our platform, so it's not that user-friendly. It's still very, I mean, even from the UI, it's not that advanced, but it's something that we will have to work on, even for our partners.
Okay.
Okay. Customer validation. So like I said, we have already 80 customers by now. We're not very much familiar with the with publishers and shops in Israel, but we provide our service to the two largest publisher groups in Israel, and we have Crocs in Israel. I don't know if it's familiar also abroad, and so for now this is our validation, and of course what we're going to start in Europe very soon.
Okay. What specifically would you like to be working with? How have you started going through the curriculum?
No, not yet. I just joined 2 days ago, so I haven't had the chance to go. But I know that our, even though some people think that the automation technology issue is the problem, we feel that the greatest challenge that we will have will be to find the right channels and the right partners to work with outside of Israel, of course.
Yes,
So
it will be a big challenge, and it will be not only signing those partners, then actually once you sign those partners, actually penetrating their customer base is going to be the channel, marketing to the channel's customers is going to be a complex issue, and that's something that you need to really learn to do properly. How do the leads come in? How do the leads get processed? And how is the channel partner going to give you access to the leads and so forth? There's a whole channel marketing process that you're going to have to really master.
This is why I'm here.
Yep, we'll definitely work on that. So once you finish closing up this channel partner, definitely, I would suggest you in any case go through the curriculum and in particular the marketing and sales pieces, you know, customer acquisition, sales 2.0, all of that, and then start asking questions in there. We're going to have to create a sales and marketing process for you so that you can scale all this and close these deals. You know, your price point is such that you kind of want to, you know, you will have to close things ideally online, or, you know, at best you can put a telesales layer on, you know, to receive the questions and talk to people, and which I think you will need. The kind of product this is, you are going to need to put in a telesales layer, so we're going to need to work through all that, and you're going to need to create the process to scale your business through that process.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So next step for you is to really invest some time in digesting enough of the curriculum and then start working, asking questions and so forth.
This is what the weekend is for.
All right. Good luck. Good progress. Anyway, very good progress.
Thank you very much.
Contacts, and like Fruit, I know the CEO and the president. I also know the CEO of Volusion, so I could, if you want to, I could introduce. Those are not people you are already talking to. I could introduce you there.
What was that? Volusion and?
Moonfruit.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, so yeah. That would be great.
The case studies are in the curriculum. So go to the e-commerce section of the elective modules, and you'll find the case studies there.
I will.
And you can look them up, and then I'll introduce you once you're ready.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
The next presenter is Jason Decker from Yggdrasil. Jason?
Hi.
Unmute your line.
Yes.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't see, it doesn't say me talking, but I'm sure maybe everybody else sees that. Like I could see
Jason, where is Sun Valley, California?
Sun Valley is just in between LA and Irvine.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It's actually probably closer to Irvine. It's about 7 or 8 miles from Irvine, Newport Beach area.
I see. And do you have your roots in one of the universities?
We don't at the moment. Basically, our whole team came from a company called Abraxas, which got bought up by Celgene, which was right in the same area. So that's where all of us came from.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, so quite a bit different from the last presentation, and I guess I should just ask your background or knowledge in kind of the pharma area. I'm just wondering how much information I should give you on some of the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 kind of trial information and the like.
So first and foremost, not only do I not have any background in pharma, I have no expertise in pharma, and we don't do pharma. In 1 million by 1 million, we don't even do pharma. So whatever guidance I would be able to give you is going to be very general. You can try me. If I can connect any dots for you, I will do that. Most likely, I will refer you over somewhere else. Okay, perfect. Yeah, then I guess I'm ready to get going. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so Yggdrasil is basically a unique pharmaceutical company in that we're striving to have the best chemotherapeutic solution on the market today. So rather than just be a drug company where we just have a chemotherapy product, we're combining it with some modern technology, basically therapeutic drug monitoring and the biomarker. So the problems out there right now is there's some toxicity issues with other drugs and with this specific type of drug. So paclitaxel is a derivative. We have a drug that's a derivative of paclitaxel, which comes from a Pacific yew tree, and it's a form of chemotherapy. And so our formulation is cremophore-free and albumin-free. In the pharma side, there's phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is basically the dosing. Phase 2, you're looking for some efficacy and toxicity results. We've in-licensed a phase 2 drug from a Korean company, and we're ready to go into phase 3. The therapeutic drug monitoring has to do with basically once the patient gets a dose of chemotherapy, we want to monitor the drug concentration in their blood to basically make sure that they're getting the correct dosing. So there was a 2008 study done by another company called Saladex in which they showed a doubling in the response rate and a 50 to 100% increase in overall survival looking 1 to 2 years out in comparison to just a normal technology. And I'll get into that quite a bit more in the next slide as to why that's really important. The biomarker has to do with patient selection in terms of how receptive the patient is going to be to the drug. So basically what happens if they give the biomarker to the patient and the biomarker will tell the doctors whether the patient is receptive or resistant to the drug, and if they're resistant to it, they'll up the dose. If they're receptive to it, they'll probably decrease the dose. So we've got a paclitaxel-specific biomarker. So basically what we're aiming to do that's a little bit different than the other drug companies is add modern technology to it to kind of modernize it, so to speak, because the pharma industry in comparison to the technology industry, kind of because of the FDA process is really in the Stone Ages, so we're hoping to improve upon that. Next slide, please. So, why does anybody want this and kind of what are the problems in the industry right now? The paclitaxel is basically the main form of chemotherapy, and there are several derivatives of it, and it's got dose-limiting toxicity and a narrow therapeutic index. So what dose-limiting toxicity means is like at a certain point you hit toxicity, and a narrow therapeutic index means that, say on a scale from 1 to 10, all the therapeutic efficacy is between 6.5 and 8. So if you don't hit that window, you're not getting basically the desired effects. There are toxicity issues with the current formulations I talked about before, cremophore and albumin. Probably won't mean much to anybody, but definitely causes a lot of problems for the patients. And then lastly, the antiquated dosing methodology of body surface area and body weight. This is 1940s, 1950 technology, and it hasn't really been improved. The only improvement really has been the biomarker in terms of dosing. And just to give you an idea on the dosing, they're testing 3 patients, and they're giving them a dose and testing for toxicity. If they're not toxic, they double it, and they continue to double it until they hit toxicity.
then they're backing off one level and making that the blanket dose for the whole population. So it's really antiquated technology in terms of dosing. So our solution is to have a novel paclitaxel formation with 50 to 100% higher. MTD is maximum tolerated dosage. So basically our drug in comparison to the other drugs, the two main drugs are Taxol, which has kind of been the standard, and then Abraxane, which our team developed. Our maximum tolerated dosage is double Taxol and 50% higher than Abraxane, which means the toxicity levels, are higher. So, for instance, I think I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's like 150 milligrams per body meter squared for Taxol, and then for Abraxane it's like 260, and for ours it's 390. So quite a bit higher. So then what we're trying to do is combine therapeutic drug monitoring along with this as well to get the dosing right. So the studies show that 85% of chemo patients are getting the wrong dosage. 68% too little, 17% too much. And like I said, the studies show, these are published clinical studies in the Journal of Clinical Oncology that show 50 to 100% increase in overall survival and 100% increase in response rate. They also showed a 75% decrease in toxicity with the therapeutic drug monitoring. So our challenge there that I'll just present to you is that that's kind of a new concept in the industry, and it's something that's totally separate from the drug companies.
Ethan, I have a question here.
Sure.
You talked about two things, right? One is you have a chemotherapy solution.
Yes.
Drug. And then you have a drug monitoring solution to manage the dosage, to monitor and manage the dosage. Is there any correlation between the two?
They're totally separate. The correlation between the two is that the therapeutic drug monitoring will increase the efficacy of the drug 50 to 100%.
But it has nothing to do with, one has nothing to do with the other. You could conceivably market the drug monitoring system completely separately, no?
Sure. Okay, so that's great that you brought that up. So we actually started a company called Biomega Diagnostics to do that. And what happened is we went to some of the pharma companies, and one of the pharmaceutical companies came back to us and said, that's great, we don't understand your technology, but we have a drug that's sitting in, that's through phase 2 and hasn't gone into phase 3 because we were afraid to compete with the drug that your team developed, which is Abraxane. So why don't we license you our drug and you combine it with your technology to get it approved? And so we looked at that as a way to bring legitimacy to our device, the therapeutic drug monitoring, and it's a bigger upside and a quicker turnaround in all directions, and it puts our team back in their core competencies of drug discovery and development. So, yes, what you're saying.
As far as I'm concerned, and this, without any expertise in pharma, I can tell you, you are trying to kind of do something very convoluted where there's most likely a much simpler business strategy here. If there's a drug monitoring system, and that is the unique piece of this, these are two very different businesses, in my opinion.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's part of, so just to give you an idea what's going on in pharma right now is the big, and this is also why our team, we went this way with the drug monitoring, is that our team believes that science has run up against the edge of what it can do to improve therapeutics, and all the advances are going to come on the device and diagnostic side, and that's why we got into that market. And so kind of the trend right now is what's called companion diagnostics. So basically it's diagnostics that are being combined with drugs to improve the efficacy and decrease the toxicity.
And is
so that's
invasive monitoring, or is it an external monitoring?
No, so that's the beauty of it. We have a take-home test, and that's the other thing. It's a personalized medicine. It would be something similar to like the diabetes testing where it's a finger prick of blood, and you put it on a little lateral flow cartridge, and you can just pop it into a little machine that will be able to wirelessly read the data. And so basically the therapeutic drug monitoring is going to map the drug concentration over 72 hours, and we're going to look at the uptake and the downtake of the drug in your system. Because the drugs affect everybody differently, and that's mean, that's kind of the whole reason for doing it. And
you don't need to go through huge clinical trial processes for this, or do you?
We do, but it's not going to have to be huge. The data out there suggests that it's so significant and so strong that we would probably only have to do a couple hundred patients as opposed to several thousand.
And that you can do by just partnering with the chemotherapy center and just, in one hospital, and that should be done, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, the issue with the therapeutic drug monitoring on its own is it's new technology, and the problem with that is that you would have to market that totally separately. When it's not paired with a drug, you're essentially cutting into the pharmaceutical margins. So that the pharma companies, may or may not want it, and you have to develop a sales force and then get into the hospital. So it's a little bit more difficult of a route to just go with the therapeutic drug monitoring.
Well, in my opinion, these are two different businesses, and they should not be marketed together. You cannot market these together.
Okay. So
you should, of course, you should check that opinion with other people who are experts in the pharma industry. But from what I can tell, these are two very different businesses. Drug discovery is long clinical trials, many years of waiting for a drug to actually be able to come into market, and so on and so forth. Very, very capital-intensive process. Whereas the TDM product that you're talking about is short cycle. It can go to market fairly quickly, and it seems like much simpler actually to get to market and start making money off.
So there's a couple things with that. The whole purpose of doing this specific product is that the drug that we've in-licensed is phase 3 ready, which means we've cut basically the development time in half, from 10 years to 5 years, and that's the whole purpose of doing it. The next thing with adding the therapeutic drug monitoring, it'll change the formulation, which extends the patent life, which eventually, for pharma right now, their patent life isn't very long because it takes 10 years to develop the drug. They're only left with, 5-7 years at most. And if they add therapeutic drug monitoring to it, it changes it. The therapeutic drug monitoring also, because it changes the formulation, it'll make it almost impossible for generics to come in and copy because they won't have the therapeutic drug monitoring, and they will have a really hard time getting around the patents. So at some point, we see certain things like this kind of disrupting the industry.
Yeah, but they will market the drug without the therapeutic drug monitoring, and that will still disrupt you.
It could, but what we're basically trying to show with the therapeutic drug monitoring is if there's a 50 to 100% increase in response rate, 50 to 100% increase in overall survival, and 50 to 70%.
No, I'm completely sold on the value proposition of the therapeutic drug monitoring. What you said that 17% underdose and 68% overdose, something like that. You said, right?
Sure. Yes, correct.
To me, that seems like a no-brainer. This is a compelling product. If it does what you say it does, it's a compelling product, and I think all the hospitals that do chemotherapy are going to be very interested in it. So to me, this seems like a product that can be brought to market fairly quickly, fairly simply, and it can be turned into money fairly quickly. But even if you've cut the drug, clinical trial process from 10 years to 5 years, you still have 5 years that you have to wait for that drug to get authorized. Instead, I would just take the therapeutic drug monitoring system and just start marketing it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we are working on that at the same time. We just saw this as a way to basically be in control of doing that, because we still have to run some trials on the TDM to get it approved. So this kind of put us in control of that, and also kind of gave us some upside in terms of the drug itself. And so just to take it one step further, what we were looking at doing is taking this drug into a phase 3 trial directly. You can go to the next. Actually, the very bottom of this slide, of the last slide. I mean, basically, what we need is a confirmatory phase 3 trial, and that was going to be our primary endpoint, because we were going to go up against the competition with the drug itself with the secondary endpoints of superiority. So it's still possible that what you're saying can happen. I guess it's just going to be whether we can raise the money with the TDM in there or not, and whether,
But if I were an investor looking at this business, I would look at these as two very different businesses. So am I funding the TDM business, or am I funding this other drug business? And licensed drugs don't get funded, I don't think. That's not a drug discovery thing. You're saying it's a licensed drug that is already approved and marketed in Korea, India, and China. This is
correct.
I don't think licensed drugs get funded.
All the time. They do. It happens all the time.
Okay.
So
well, that's
yeah.
I don't know the pharma industry, but
sure.
To me, this looks like two completely different businesses.
Sure, and that may be, and that's great feedback. And we do have both businesses, so that is something that that we can do. Maybe I'll just go through the next couple slides and see if you have any more feedback. So let's go to the next slide. So the competition, I put this here because our team came from Celgene. The other NATCO is just generic Abraxane. So at Celgene, they developed a Abraxane, which is going to be $1 billion product. It's got $440 million in sales last year. They'll probably do $500 million this year. Teva has got another product. They filed a patent infringement lawsuit against Celgene, and they're not on the market yet. And then Sun Pharma has got lipid dispersion nanotechnology. So you can go to the next slide.
So one comment here is that since you came from Celgene, you have contacts into the company that has acquired Celgene, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So that was kind of the point. The point of this drug was that our team. So when our team was at Celgene, they went out and looked at all the competing drugs, and this one specifically that we in-licensed, and they know it's better. They told the Celgene management that it was better, but they had already invested too much money in Abraxane, and so they basically said, bury that document. We didn't see it. And so this drug came about, and everybody got excited because we know it's on par to slightly better in terms of efficacy, but the toxicity is about 50% lower. So we could develop the drug on its own as well, and maybe that's what you're saying that we should do, because the drug itself should be able to compete with Abraxane on its own.
Right. I think these are two different businesses, and the strategy for the drug business and the strategy for the monitoring business are different. So for instance, one thing I would consider doing is if you have a drug that is already working and is a better drug than Abraxane, which is the market leader, it seems like.
Correct.
I would go to one of the competitors of Abraxane, that's NATCO or Teva, and go sell that to them and go to market through them.
Sure. Well, that's
phase 3 trial.
Yeah, that's essentially what we were trying. That's very similar to what our approach was with the drug that we in-licensed, because we went to all the derivatives, the paclitaxel derivatives of which Abraxane and the drug that we in-licensed. That's exactly what we did, and they just turned it around on us and flipped it around and said, well, why don't you license our drug? So rather than us taking it into Korea, China, and India, why don't you take it into the U.S. and get it approved with with the monitoring and on your own using your expertise. So I guess it makes sense what you're saying, and I can take that back to the team, and maybe we will just split them out.
Yeah, I think so that's my assessment based on very limited, as I said, very limited knowledge of pharma, just based on pure business acumen. It seems to me like if you have a product that can position successfully against Celgene and Abraxane, then I would just take it to the competitors and flip it there. And the other piece of the business, the diagnostic business, monitoring business, actually, if it doesn't have competition, that seems very promising to me.
Yeah, so the only competition on the diagnostic and device side is it's basically a lab test, and we've got a personalized medicine test. The difference between the lab test and the personalized medicine is the lab is someone would get a dose of chemo, and then they would have to go back to a central lab, Quest Diagnostics, something like that and get blood drawn 24 hours after they get a dose.
Who is the leader in terms of instruments, scientific instruments or personalized instruments? Which company that space?
Nothing's coming right to mind. I know there are a few, but like Quest Diagnostics, Abbott Labs. I mean, those are the companies that would probably most likely.
You could either flip it to them or get a strategic investment from them to finish the last piece of the trial and then flip it back to them.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But I would separate the strategies. I think you're trying to tie these two strategies together, which to me it seems like a flawed strategy.
Okay, that's good. That's a good suggestion, Neil. The reason that we did that, I guess, is because we have the technology and
I think
we
you're
just
trying
see
to
a significant improvement.
Artificially fit them together because you kind of think that you have all this expertise and you'd like them to fit in together. But from everything that you've described today at this session, you have made zero case for those to be marketed together, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. The only I guess the only question I would have there is the patent and basically the patent extension in terms of in this specific drug. So we filed a patent now, so we would
I don't think that patent extension is going to mean anything because the drug is going to be something that generics can copy.
But they wouldn't be able to copy it in the sense of the dosing would be specific to each specific patient, so they wouldn't be able to.
Right, they wouldn't be able to copy that portion of it, but that portion of it that's not specific to this particular drug, that's specific to all drugs, and you're basically somehow constraining the effectiveness of your diagnostic product and limiting the diagnostic product unnecessarily.
Okay. The only thing with that though is that if so what I said was going on in the pharma industry right now is the companion diagnostics being added to drugs, and that seems to be the trend. That's the only question I guess I'd pose to you with that. Is it seems like that's the trend, is to bring devices and diagnostics in with the drugs to improve them. Do you have any feedback on that, or you still think it's just separate?
I don't know. These are not trends that I follow or monitor, so I think you should take expert opinion. I'm not an expert in this
sure.
in this
well,
at all.
Yeah, we haven't got any. No one's really said anything to us on that yet, but we haven't.
Why don't you send me an email? I will connect you to some friends of mine who are experts in the, biotech, pharma, healthcare, health sciences industry, and I think you should talk to. There's this woman called Anne DeGeest. I will introduce you to her. I think you can talk to her and see what she says. But this is not my area of expertise. I just
sure.
some very basic business reaction.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. I appreciate the feedback. Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
So do you want me to touch on these last slides or just go
if you
on
want,
to the next?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the slide you just went past was our team, but we don't need to look at that. I mean, basically, I had set that up because we all came from Celgene. So we developed basically the market leader in terms of drugs. So we have the expertise to do what we're trying to do. So you can go to the next slide. The market size for the drug and the 4 targeted indications is $1 billion plus. Obviously it's about 5 years out till we would get approval. So we think it's, getting late in 2012 here. So 2018 approval with 150 plus million in sales the first year. And then as a comparison, just to kind of give an idea, Celgene bought Abraxas for like 8.5 times sales for $2.9 billion in 2010. So there's significant upside to the product itself. Next slide. Yeah, so then, our funding plan, and this may totally change now if what you're saying is, maybe we were looking at doing an initial round of $8 to $10 million to kind of validate the TDM and biomarker with the drug to generate some hype and around kind of the increased efficacy by adding the companion diagnostic to the drug. and then do a follow-on round to run the phase 3. But maybe we've already talked about this internally too, and what you said is just maybe go right into a phase 3, and then.
Here's a simple question. Again, this is very simple business reaction.
Sure.
If you separate the two businesses out, what currently, not before any further investment, what is the current valuation of each of those businesses? Let's say if Quest bought your diagnostic product today, or if one of the competitors, let's say Teva, bought your drug product today without anything else, any further investment, what would be the valuations of each of those?
Yeah, the drug product would probably be somewhere in the 30 to 50 million range, and the diagnostic would probably be somewhere, depending on who valued it, I'd say 5 to 15 million. But the diagnostic side has got a much longer kind of runway to lift off than the drug, in the sense of because the diagnostic really needs to be proven, but it's got a bigger upside long term because it can be applied across all the horizontal categories of drugs, and then all the verticals inside all those horizontals. So it could be applied to oncology, AIDS, high blood pressure, and then in each one of those categories there's verticals of drugs.
You're a financial guy. What does that tell you? I would go sell the diagnostic product to Quest or Abbott Labs or somebody, take that 10 to $15 million, put that in the drug development, and take it through the next trials, and that vastly increases your valuation on the drug itself. And then if you can either raise money on the drug if that's viable, otherwise you sell it to Teva and be done with it.
So the next thing, just before we close here, we do have a small public company that has entered into merger talks with us, and we don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but we do have that in the process, and it's all contingent upon them being able to have the money to run the phase 3 trial. So we'll see how this works out, but probably most likely they would just want to go right into a phase 3, and we don't know if they would want the TDM.
If you're already in merger discussions, you should expand that merger discussion to include the other players in the process.
Okay, so that's so I just started engaging investment banks after that happened.
If you're already thinking merger, then you should open it up to the broader portfolio of people and be open to selling the business in 2 parts.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate your information, and I'll send you an email, and I'd love to talk to your contacts about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Talat, what's going on? Talat also is a premium member, and he just wants to have a quick chat. Talat, are you on the line? Here we go again. Meanwhile, everybody else who's in the room, please feel free to introduce yourselves and tell us where you're joining from, what you're working on. We're always very curious to hear, about your projects and what kinds of challenges you're facing, what kind of successes you're having. So please use the public chat as much as you want to.
Hello.
Is this Talat? Hello.
Hi, Sramana.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So can you hear me clearly?
Yep, I hear you fine. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I talked to you last time, and you gave me a lot to think about. And I did the only fashionable thing, which is pivoting. And now I have sent you an email just to give you a brief description of what I'm doing right now. So right now I am making iPhone games, and to support that I need cash and I need exposure when the game is made. So to support that I am doing product development for other people. for cash. And yeah.
Are you getting projects like that for development, iPhone game development?
Yeah, I have got 2 projects so far, but because now I am the only person in the company, I have become a micropreneur now.
That's fine. How are you getting the projects?
I don't have any systematic process to get it. I just 2 projects I got just from word of mouth, and I'm also in Elance. And once these projects are nearing completion, I will apply for some projects in Elance. So that's how I'm getting the project.
Okay. So you can try all of those marketplaces: Elance, Odesk, freelancer.com. There's a whole host of them through which you can get projects like that. That's a very standard way for micro entrepreneurs to do business development.
And for exposure for my game that I will be building, I have also started a website which is like 2 months old, and I plan to get like a more durable, long-term income to it, and also eyeballs for my game. In that website, I usually cover indie games, like indie games, and also write reviews and interviews from game.
You have a blog that's reviewing games.
Reviewing games and also writing articles on games and also interviewing game developers.
Okay, that's good. That's great.
Yeah. So this is what I'm doing in very short.
Okay. And I've introduced you to Erica. You should talk to Erica and see what comes out of that. Erica brought, folks in the room, here's what's going on. Talat is in Malaysia, and he would like to build a gaming company. In the meantime, he needs to generate cash, and we are using a technique, a methodology that we formally call bootstrapping using services. He needs to bootstrap his way through this process, and he basically needs to generate cash by marketing his expertise of game development. So that's what he's doing. He's using Elance, Odesk, and these kinds of exchanges to market his services and generate projects. And I've just introduced him to Erica Brodnick, who's another premium member in the 1M1M program, who's in the UK, and she is doing a game development company, and she needs to connect with somebody who is, from a technology point of view and from a game development point of view, more of an expert. She has more the concepts and the business side of it. So, so I've made the connection, and we'll see what comes out of it. And I guess both of you are going to keep me posted.
Yeah, okay. And also, I just wanted to ask you a question, because I am like building games on iPhone as a platform. Because it seems like something I can wrap my head around, and it is also less complex to actually make games and distribute games. So what do you think of this iPhone as a platform? Is it like durable in like 5-year period?
Absolutely. iPhone is a completely durable platform. It's the best platform out there right now.
Okay, cool.
And also, the tools that that are built around it, you know, even the do-it-yourself tools, the game salad kind of stuff, are great.
Yeah.
So there's a very robust ecosystem around it, tool ecosystem around it, with which to develop games efficiently. So if you work with people who are more the artist types or the creative types who can, or storytelling types who can come up with concepts and have no technical expertise, which is pretty much what you're going to experience with Erica, and you provide all of that technical expertise, I think it's a huge win-win.
Yeah, I think I can provide more than just technical thing, because I have been like
provide more than technical things, but I think the good news is that these are situations. There are lots of people who are pure creative people who have none of the understanding of how to develop the games. So that's where you're going to have a lot of value to offer.
Right, right. So I also just want to tell you that I was studying on game development and stuff like that on the iPhone, and I found out that in general, your revenue per game increases if you like make more games in the platform. And also, if you try to make it a bit more cross-platform, like also maybe trial version on the web in HTML5 or something, you know, like buy the whole game in iPhone. So I will also be making like trial version for the web as well as iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to work within your means. You can't do things that you cannot support with your means. So be realistic and you know, get enough projects so that you can sustain yourself and maybe start building a small team in Malaysia of people who will be able to help you manage both a services and a product business. And it's a very standard way of building businesses. You'll find actually lots of case studies in the curriculum, which you probably have already gone through some of this, of people who have done these bootstrapping using services. A very standard mechanism. And
I've gone through all the courses in the gaming section as well as the bootstrapping stuff. So.
Okay, and go through the outsourcing section as well. Have you done the outsourcing section?
Yeah, I have done it.
Okay, good. Then you're pretty much up to speed on methodology. Now it's a question of execution.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And we'll also, now that you've told me what you're doing, I will also. We have other people in the program who are constantly looking for developer referrals, and I will send you more of these developer referrals.
Cool.
One thing you have to be very clear about is delivering quality work, because we make one introduction, and if you do not deliver quality, come back and tell me, sorry, this didn't work out, and you will get no other referral.
Yeah, actually, I have been doing this for a very long time. As you know, before I was developing web products. So I have experience with dealing with clients and how to, you know, give them products that they actually want and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I have experience in that. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right. So keep going and keep me posted how it's going.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted regarding this.
All right, folks. I'm going to do a quick segment on how to use 1 million by 1 million. And before we do that, I have a request to all of you. If you find what we are doing here useful, please refer 1 million by 1 million to other entrepreneurs. There are lots of entrepreneurs out there who need help. And here's a resource where you can get help. And let me walk you through what kind of resources this brings together. So the website is 1mby1m.com. You will find the first layer of resources you'll find is our blog. And the blog is extremely comprehensive and full of case studies, trend information, and stuff that you can learn from completely free of charge. In addition, we have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series. There are 4 volumes of Entrepreneur Journeys, which are essentially case studies and some analysis synthesis of methodology. And we have 2 core pieces of methodology that we really emphasize on. One is bootstrapping, the other is positioning. We are very much focused on lean, capital efficient startups for building businesses, which is why actually we do not do pharma, semiconductor, clean tech, and so forth, because none of that fits the lean, capital efficient startup methodology. The books are all available on Amazon, Kindle, and in India from Flipkart. The blog is at sramanamitra.com. In addition, we have these free public roundtables, and we are on our 137th session today. We have had over 10,000 entrepreneurs attend these sessions, coached hundreds of entrepreneurs, and we have a very good idea about what kinds of questions tend to come up. And based on that, any of you can take advantage of these sessions. And based on that, we have created the premium program. We have been developing the curriculum for the premium program for 6 years, actually. We started developing case studies in 2006. And since then, over 600 entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, have come to our platform and told us how they have shared with us how they have built their businesses, what strategies they've followed, what has worked for them, what has not worked for them. And based on that, we have developed a curriculum that is video lectures and case studies. So you will find today a very comprehensive curriculum that triangulates from the top. It triangulates the success strategies of successful entrepreneurs. From the bottom, it triangulates the questions and the challenges and the roadblocks that the first-time entrepreneurs are facing all over the world, and then it creates this curriculum which is at the cusp of the two, which addresses the questions and the challenges of the beginner entrepreneurs and triangulates the solutions that the experienced entrepreneurs have come up with. So it's a very powerful curriculum, the most powerful curriculum available in the market today. In addition, we also help you with these kinds of strategy consulting in private sessions. We have members-only sessions. Those are our private roundtables. We also help you with business development, connecting the dots with customers, potential channel partners, media, analysts. We have huge reach into the media, analysts, and investors. Now, with one caveat, a lot of the businesses that come to us, and a lot of the businesses in the world, I would say 99% of the businesses out there are not fundable. So don't expect that you come into the program and we'll immediately refer you to investors. We will have you follow the methodology, validate your business, and deem yourself fundable. And we will give you the methodology of how to do that, but you're going to have to execute on it and make yourself fundable to be introduced to investors. And that is something that takes time and that takes work. And not all businesses are fundable. There are many businesses that are going to be 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million businesses that are not necessarily fundable businesses. But they're perfectly fine businesses to build in a self-finance mode, bootstrap mode, and we will support you in doing that as well. We recommend that you do the 1M1M self-assessment. If you are a premium member, you will also have curriculum modules to assist you with the self-assessment. The website, of course, once again, is 1mby1m.com. You can also look at a few places on the website, the premium program and FAQ pages on the top right corner. Those tabs take you to a lot more information. You'll also have video messages, which are video FAQs effectively. So I would suggest go over that if you're trying to evaluate the 1M1M program. And you can always ask questions. You can come to these sessions and have discussions, the free sessions. Once again, our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. And the core curriculum consists of 7 modules which all of you will have to master. That's bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, team building. The elective module constitutes the, modules that are aligned with the trends of the industry today, where we see a lot of entrepreneurship happening. Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education / educational technology, and gaming. These are the areas where we have real activity, and we have elective modules on each of them. Again, the curriculum is delivered as case studies of several hundred successful entrepreneurs and video lectures that address the commonly faced challenges of early stage entrepreneurs that are doing it for the first time most of the time. We do have an affiliate program, so if you are an entrepreneurship development organization and you want to be our affiliate partner, you're very welcome to reach out. Our next 3 free roundtables in August are August 2nd, August 23rd, and August 30th. And please feel free to sign up on the website for any of these roundtables. A final referral is to a book, the 5th book that I wrote called Vision India 2020. Those of you who are working on emerging markets and developing markets, there are $45 billion ideas that are written as India-focused business ideas, but these are ideas that would apply to a lot of the emerging markets. And you're very welcome to steal any of these ideas or morph any of these ideas and work on them. That's pretty much all I have to say in terms of what 1M1M does. Any questions, comments, please feel free to use the public chat. I'll be happy to take those questions at this point. Anybody? No? No questions, no comments? If not, then we'll wrap up and get on with our day. I'm sure all of you have a lot to do. Rasheli, yes, you're going to have to start with the curriculum. Yep. All right. Looks like we don't have any other questions or comments, so we'll wrap up the session for today. We'll see you next week. The premium members will see you at the private roundtable on Wednesday, and everybody else will see you on Thursday at the next public roundtable on August 2nd. Bye-bye, everybody.